degenerates, lovers and fighters, all of the sick, lame, lazy, blind, crippled, and crazy. Take a knee and bow your tired heads. The King has died. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here to celebrate the life of our dear friend, brother, mentor, father figure, teacher, Reverend Kevin Gilbert McFadden. A man of many hats and a man of many names, although most of us knew him simply as Mac, or some variation thereof. Mac Daddy, Macalicious, Machiavelli, Coach McFadden. Whatever you called him, I'm going to start reading his bio. Born on July 26, 1966, and plucked from his corporeal form far too soon on the 6th of June, 2024. He was a man who lived life to the fullest, with a zest for life that was unmatched. He had a heart as big as his sense of humor. Metaphorically speaking, of course, not a serious medical condition. For those of you who don't know me, it's nice to see you out of your cave. My name is Big Bad Brad, and this is my lovely wife, Sarah. Mac was my best friend. I spoke a little earlier about him being a man of many hats. I've got a lot of friends. Some of them are good for some things. But a best friend is able to wear all those hats. And what's amazed me since his passing, after meeting so many of you, is that he was able to be that person for all of us. It was like a superpower.
Sarah, I belong to this guy. And I met Mac through my husband. And he wasn't too sure what he thought about me at first, but I grew on him. And then I became his annoying little sister, always concerned about his health and telling him to do all these different things health-wise. So, of course, he would fill me in anytime he was making good health choices or poor ones. Yeah, just to get me all riled up. That was fun. Sorry. He was also my kid's uncle, and they absolutely loved him. He would come over, and then they're both coming in, and they're like, everybody's got to talk to him. They all wanted to tell him about his joke or their new jokes that are like really disturbing, because that was his style, and that's my children's style because they take after their dad. It was always crazy. Every time he would come to our house, he just gets swarmed by everybody. They're like, everybody wanted to tell him what was happening because we didn't see him too often. He worked all the time, and so a lot of times we'd have date night and we'd have to go to his work to see him. And that's, adult friendships.
And adult entertainment.
Yeah. I just wanted to extend our we want to extend our gratitude to all of you. That's what's made all of this possible. I cannot believe the amount of support that we have gotten from everybody through this. I feel like I keep cutting out. It's been impressive. Like, I don't know anybody else who has touched as many lives as he has.
Allegedly.
He's a jokester. That was one of the things they had in common. Oh, and Mac was also supposed to be my backup husband. I forgot that part. Because he was the most like my husband, and somebody had to keep me in line. So don't...
I thought you said he was like your brother.
Well, yeah, but we're not blood related, so it's okay.
Oh, you are from Dallas. So.
Oh, hey, that's Falls City. That's like that. Thank you. Guys, this guy here. Anyway, back to thanking everybody. So we had fundraisers, GoFundMe, everything, and there's been a crazy amount of support from everybody. It's absolutely amazing. So everything got paid for. We were able, his cremation, the burial, his headstone, and we got the special headstone with his picture on it, which, by the way, he is buried at City View, and we have it in Salem, Oregon, if anybody wants to go and visit him. Well, his ashes are there. And I think is that the end of my thing here? Yeah, you're up next.
All right, I am tasked with giving a brief synopsis of his amazing existence. We're going to take this out. There we go. That's better. Mack was born originally to Pat and Jewel McFadden, bonus son to Butch Gartner, and baby brother to Sue, Roger, Ron, Randy, may he rest in peace, Sandy, Lori, Greg, and a man affectionately known as Other Brother Greg, Barb, and Brenda. His father, Pat, was a bookie, and his mom, other than being pregnant, worked for Valley Credit Service. As a youngster, Mack attended Salem Academy Christian School. He was a good student, and he was well known as a protector of the weak and the downtrodden. It wasn't unusual, I've been told, for him to wedge himself between a bully and a would-be victim and introduce himself by saying something like, "Well, I figure I've lived a good life. I'm ready to die here. What about you?" I estimate that approximately 0 schoolhouse bullies were willing to push the matter after an introduction such as that. After overcoming what was most likely undiagnosed dyslexia, Mack graduated Salem Academy in 1984, 2 years after I was born. He went on to coach football at his alma mater, inspiring countless young athletes with his passion, dedication, and unique sense of humor. It was during this time that he began to study martial arts. The initial reason for him beginning to study wasn't to learn how to fight or how to defend himself, but rather he saw martial arts as a vehicle for human potential. He wanted to learn how to help people at a deeper level. His martial studies led him to opening a dojo in Dallas, Oregon, known as the HITS Academy. High intensity training systems, I believe. Is that right, Mike? Now, Mack didn't do anything average. He wasn't your everyday McDojo sensei, just getting paid high dollar to punch kids in the face. No, sir.
We did that too.
He was a mentor, a guide, and a friend to all who walked through his doors. But also, he got paid to kick kids in the face. Unintentionally, yeah. You're up.
Oh! All right. Oh, there we go. Can you hear me now? Okay. Little technical difficulties happening here. All right, Mack spent the last 2 decades managing Stars Cabaret and then later Firehouse Cabaret. It might seem unconventional, but this is another way that Mack used to help people. Years ago, my husband Brad here told Mack that he was like a fat X-rated Jesus. He found this hilarious, and also, I really think that's the closest thing to describing him, and everybody's agreed. He really, that's exactly, there's not a better term. I grew up Christian, and I was very devout, and I read my Bible every day, and I prayed every day, and I wanted to be just like Jesus. But of course, I had a different view about it. That meant that I needed to go to church all the time and all these things. And I've realized as I got older that's a little bit different, but also all of this and then hearing everybody's stories about how he changed their life, how he saved their lives, like, this is what Jesus was like. And even if you don't believe in Jesus, right, that Christ-like conscience, it's all over in other religions and everything too. But even like the stories of that, to embody that love, that was him. He embodied love, and he was able to speak in a language that everybody could hear. So sometimes people that are highly damaged are not able to hear things in that loving way that we get taught in church, in the way that it's delivered. They need to hear it really rough, and maybe some cuss words involved, maybe some other things that we won't say here, but that worked. And he was the only person on the planet that could do it. I can't even imagine anybody else getting away with the things that he said. But those things changed people's lives. We have had so many people message us after all of this, and they're like, I don't know what I'm gonna be doing. I'm lost without him. He was my counselor. He was my best friend. He was my brother. He kept me alive. This is huge. Like, the amount of people that he touched their lives, every day, I'm just in awe over it. And he didn't think that he was better than anybody else. He was with everybody. He wasn't judging. He would make jokes about the judging. But really, he loved each and every person, and he was special in all of these people's lives. And I don't even know how he found the space for that, because I have like 5 people. And I'm like, this is a lot. And he'd had countless, just countless. I feel like that was probably, yeah, you're up. We'll do that.
To piggyback off of what my lovely wife just said, for those that are feeling lost, without their teacher, their guide, their friend, Mac, there comes a time in every journey when the student must surpass the master. You take those lessons and you move forward and you apply them in your life. Mac frequently visited his lovely sisters, Barb and Brenda, in Sisters. Their bond was special, filled with laughs, lunches, check-ins, countless phone calls, and mostly love. Performed in a way that only Mac could deliver. They've shared some cherished memories with us about his youth and his young childhood obsession with Evel Knievel. And I would like to pass that story on to you guys. I just chuckle at the thought of a little tiny mini Mac decked out in his Evel Knievel costume, riding like hell on his miniature motorcycle around Jory Park during family picnics. I think that sparked a lifelong obsession. His true love, the Iron Horse. And although this joke will probably bomb, I believe it would be accurate to say that Mac loved motorcycles to death.
And that would be a joke he would say.
It was a risk.
All right, we wanted to give everybody the chance to share. We've got a portable mic here, and our son, Mr. Levi, can bring it to you. So if you want to stand up or raise your hand, he'll bring it by. And everybody that wants to share, please share. And we were going to do food after that, but I guess we could do a second round of food after that.
Doug?
Yeah.
Or you can come up here if you want to.
Would you like to say a few words? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Doug Olson, Mac's hetero life partner,
Like mate.
life mate,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Gotta get it right.
I prefer to be on the stage. Mac liked that about me. I met Mac back in '98. I moved to town, married a girl, and with her came a bunch of friends that I had never known before. I lived in Eugene. I came up to Salem and I met Mac and Jeff and Troy and all these people, and they were just all really, really cool to me. Mac and I had a special bond. When me and my wife broke up, he was there for me. Two people saved my life. One of them is still alive, sitting up there, and Mac was the other one. Right now, Mac would tell me, "Get over it, Doug. Just get over it." He liked to say that. He was such a good friend. When we broke up, he wanted to make me feel better, so he went to visit my ex-wife in the middle of the night. He snuck in the house and got caught. And they had a nice chat and they talked, and then he left, and the next morning he presented me, and I don't think she knows this, with their garage door opener. And we would quite frequently drive by that house and push the garage door opener and just watch. Then one day, unbeknownst to us, they got a dog. And we hit that garage door opener and out runs the dog. Oh, we had fun. Sorry about that. Not really. I'm gonna miss him a lot. I didn't see him a lot the last 10 years or so. I moved back to Eugene, but we talked a lot. During the first years that I knew him, I got to meet family. I got to meet Pat and Jewel. They were awesome. Got to go to casino with them one time. That was fun. They liked to play craps. Mac loved that picture of him as a baby sitting on the craps table. That's a hilarious picture. I just have so many stories I'd love to tell you, but obviously we don't have time. But we all knew what a freaking great guy he was, with that hard exterior that sometimes you couldn't get through, sometimes you could. I'm gonna miss my buddy Mac. I know all you guys are too.
Hi. I met Mac at Stars. I'm pushing 73 years old, and I have a lifelong commitment to drinking beer, which I gave up 4 or 5 years ago. But if you like to drink beer and you want to go out, you can go to the Wooden Nickel and sit on a stool by yourself, or you can go to Liberty Self-Live. But Stars, with naked women there, that's fun. And that's where I met Mac, anyway. I was a customer for a long time. We became friends. He was the manager. He got me, I was in an old-time rock and roll band, 60s, 70s. He got us a gig at Stars, and he got us a gig at one time at their annual meeting up in Wilsonville. And he used to play poker. And that's where I hooked up with him the most. He used to run poker games at his house. He was a very good poker player. He was always, it was quite often me and him and a couple other guys at the end, because I'm a good poker player.
He was lucky.
Oh, yeah, that helps. Better to be lucky than good in poker.
Yeah.
And I guess I just want to say, I'm kind of an odd testimony to Mac in that I'm a professional guy. I had a good job. There's no reason that Mac and I ever would have become friends, really. Except he accepted anybody. He never judged people by what they looked like or whatever. He judged by how he felt about them inside. And I felt the same way about him. And the poker games were like, for me, guys that show up packing heat, restaurant owners, just a whole huge variety of different people that I would normally never hang with, but that was Mac. He drew this big circle that drew in everybody. So, I'll miss him. I haven't seen him since he left Stars. I don't go there anymore. Firehouse is too far away from my house, and DUIs are a bad thing. So, I'll miss him. He was a good guy, and sorry to see him gone.
Me too.
So I actually only met Mac one time. So it might be weird that I'm up here saying something in a celebration of life. But my connection to him is through my best friend, Doug. Doug came into my life about 10 years ago. And he's my best friend, and I know that Mac had everything to do with shaping who Doug is. Mac, being Doug's best friend, helped shape Doug to be my best friend when I needed him the most in my life. And hearing all you guys talk about how he touched people in all these different ways, and he's the X-rated Jesus, like, yes, he really is. He touched my way, and he'll never know how much. But I hope he's listening, and I hope he knows it. Because of his friendship with my best friend, it shaped my life too. And that's saying a lot. And that's it. I was happy I met him.
Well,
Whoa.
I'm not used to doing this kind of thing, but Mac was my baby girl. Closer.
You could call him Kevin.
No, he's baby bro. And he was the best person that I ever knew. You know, and that's not because he's my brother, but he, like you said, he didn't judge anybody. He did everything for anybody. And you could get through his hardcore. He tried to act not, but you could. You know, he forgot to mention that he was a preacher, an online preacher. You're married, you two.
Oh, yeah. Oh!
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we
see?
forgot the most important thing, you know? Yeah.
And what was it called? The flying?
Oh,
The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Yes, the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster is who he got ordained through, so
Just for us.
worked them. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you for everything that you guys have done to make this day happen. We couldn't have done it without you, and we love every bit of you. So thank you very much, very much.
So, I knew Mac through Stars, and I have two stories I'd like to tell. The first one, I know we weren't supposed to do it, but I was dating one of the dancers, and we went into the Grand Hotel after, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. She would get off at 2. And, of course, rented a very nice room. And word got back to Mac about it, so he, I don't know, what's the term, 86'd her? And so she couldn't go in. So I decided I would try and pull the wool over his eyes. So I went to, I think the FedEx store, where you could make photocopies and things like that. So I photocopied the room receipt, and then I changed the room number on it. And so I went back to Stars, said to Mac, no, we spent the night in 2 different rooms. And he looked at the receipt and said, "Don't BS me, Doc." And so we became friends after that. The second story, also at Stars. I was wild in those days, and I was dating another one of the dancers, and so she didn't get off work till about 3, and they served alcohol, I think, till 2:30, and I love Irish whiskey, so I had a little too much to drink, and when we got ready to leave, Mac came over and said, "You're too drunk to drive." And I said, "No, I'm not." And he said, "Like hell you aren't." And so he said, "Sit down here." So I sat down, and as soon as he turned around and went the other direction, I snuck out and got to my car. And I backed my car out of the parking place, and I went to pull forward, and Mac was standing right in my way. So I think he prevented me from either getting a ticket or get killed that night, and I never will forget that he saw for other people. He'll be missed.
Jeff Schilling here, also one of those stage guys.
Big Jeff.
So, wow, where do you begin? Thank you all for coming out. Deepest condolences to friends, families, loved ones. God, Mac picked me up, or plucked me from another club. He said, "Man, if you ever," I was working door and DJ and this and that and the other thing, and he said, "If you ever need a job, you know, hey, come see me." And hey, lo and behold, a couple weeks later, I knew too much and I needed another job. So I went to Stars. He said, "What can you do?" I said, "I can cook, clean, I could do anything in between. What do you need?" He said, "Cook." I said, "Well, we cook." "All right, cook." Every once in a while, they'd call me out for security, reinforcements. And he was a friend. Sometimes we'd open up on a Sunday and close together. A lot of times, you know, business would be slow. And it was a running joke between me and him. He'd be like, "Hey, Jeff, why don't you cook us up some food?" I'm like, "All right." As soon as the food would get on the grill, I'd have that burger ready, steak ready, we'd be ready to eat. All of a sudden, business would just start cranking. It was a running joke, you know. He's like, "Jeff, go make some food." But he was a friend. He was the coolest manager I've ever known. Man, what do you say? So, when I found out that I was going to be a dad, went to MACK. He goes, "Well, do you love her?" And I said, "Yeah, I love her." He said, "Well, let's get married." And guess what? We got married. She's not here today. Her back was bothering and everything else. But we've been married 14 years now. So McFadden's, he married us. He did a professional job. It was top-notch, first-rate. He was just an amazing guy, as everybody knows. You know, when I recently I'd rededicated my life to the Lord, and when I left MACK, I think it was when we got married, and then I think he called me back one more time. I did a show, and there was a biker club. I think the Outlaws were there, and the Jokers were there, and I was like, "Man, this could get sideways." And he goes, "Well, you just keep an eye on those bikes, make sure nobody does anything stupid, and everything will be just fine." I was like, "All right." Well, everything was just fine. You know, when Mac was there, it was always fine. It was when Mac wasn't there is when things got sideways. But anyhow, so I'd rededicated my life to Christ a few years back, and you know, when this all happened to you know, I was praying, and I'm like, "Man, I can't believe," you know, and you knew he was such a good person. I knew all the things he had done. I had seen him rescue girls I know that he had ran a dojo. I know that he had been in so many people's lives that, you know, he was just such a good person. And I'm like, "Oh my God, is he in heaven?" And I'm like, "He's here." That's what I heard. He's like, he's here? I'm like, I hear that? I'm like, yeah, he's here. So have no doubt. I truly believe within a shadow of a doubt that he is in heaven. And, if you don't know Jesus, you make him, all it is, it's a walk of faith. It's just asking Jesus into your heart, asking for forgiveness, and he'll meet us anywhere. Believe me, I've been around the block so many times and made it a circle. But God, get moving your life. And don't, I think about these moments, and I was thinking about that poem, and it was a man walked along the beach, and then as he walked, he seen signs of his life, and he noticed through the hardest and most perilous times that when he was walking, the hardest, most perilous times, there was only one set of footprints, and he said, God, why was there only one set of footprints? God said, my child, my precious child, it was then when I carried you. So, I don't know. I feel like he's carrying us all right now. And, just make sure that, if there's tugs on your strings or, before you have that moment, and just remember that Jesus loves you no matter what. He loves us all. And God bless you, Mac. And thanks, Brad, Sarah, Cadell. You made all this happen. We couldn't have done it without you. Maybe a big hand for them.
Yeah.
Well, God bless you. God bless you, Mac.
Alright, so I'm Levi.
Hi, Levi.
Hi, to you too, even though you know me. So, how I met Mac was through my mom and dad, Brad, and Sarah. I don't think I'll be able to forget the time when me and my sister were at the house, home alone. My mom and dad came home. They told us the tragic news about Mac. I could feel Mac watching over us as that was happening. And that was the first time in my life that I saw my dad cry. And I'm grateful for all of you coming and supporting me, my family, and Mac. This would not be possible without all of you guys. So thank you, and Mac, thanks you too.
I'm gonna use this one because the other one's gross for my brother. But I love Mac to death. I've known him since I was little. I mean, not really known him, but he knew me. He's been a big part of our lives since I was little. I know that I will always love him. I know there's some times that I will never forget. There was a time that he came over and we had all missed him, so we all rushed towards him and we were hugging him and he was there. Because he didn't come over a whole bunch, as Mom said. And Eli wanted to show him his new jokes. And boy, were they racist, but we could all laugh about it. Because that was his favorite jokes. And they were jokes that he's never heard before, too, so even better. Eli decided to tell a Rubik's Cube joke. And Mac thought it was hilarious, as he always does. And he's like, I've never heard that one before. And he very much enjoyed it and told Eli that he'd be telling it to whoever thought they would find it hilarious and whoever wouldn't find it hilarious just to mess with them. He was an amazing person, and I will never forget him in my whole life. I don't know a whole bunch to say, but he was the best uncle I probably ever asked for. And I thank my dad for introducing us, even if I was little, and I didn't even know who he was at first. But he was always there, and every birthday he would tell me that he loved me and that happy birthday to me and that he'd come soon, even though he would come after the next few months. But he always made a point to tell me that he loved me and that I meant so much to him and that I was one of his favorites. And even this last birthday that I just had, it was Princess of the Frog themed. And me and Mac were joking, and I was like, you gonna come this year, or are you gonna wait a couple months? And he's like, well, I'll try to make it. I was like, okay. And so then we were planning on what dress he'd wear. He wanted to wear an Elsa-themed one, but it was a Princess and the Frog-themed birthday party, so I don't think he got the idea. But boy, did he have an imagination. And I don't know if he'd fit into the dress either, but, you know, we were gonna try. But I loved him very much. He was an amazing person, and I thank his parents and everybody for making him who he is, even though, boy, is he a weirdo. But he's a pretty amazing weirdo. And thank you.
Would anyone like to know what the Rubik's Cube joke is first?
Yes, I do.
Alright, so why are Americans so good at Rubik's Cubes?
Why?
Because they're good at separating the colors.
He would encourage this. Because that's what I live with. Okay? It was crazy when I would have him and my husband and my son against me with this stuff. By the way, in case anybody was wondering, Aaliyah was calling her brother Eli. He says his name is Levi. There might be some confusion. He was born Eli, but now he wants to go by Levi because he is reinventing himself. He wanted a more masculine name and one that had self-respect. And so that's where that's going, and we're encouraging that. I like that.
I'm Kelly. Who well knows me, I'm sure I've waited on probably every one of you in here at one point. I worked at Stars for, almost 20 years, and then I work at the Firehouse, current date, just one day a week because MACK would open up the Firehouse on Tuesdays for me, and that's when we would, you know, shoot our shit, say our bullshit, you know, because Max helped me raise my son. He was really important to me and one of my very best friends. He came in one day and got an application. I don't remember that day, but he remembers it very well. And he said that it was so beautiful and, you know, he just was so in love. But we were friends for a while before we ever decided to, like, you know, date. And I was out in Bend with a brand new baby, and I never really did baby things before. Imagine that, working at the strip club my whole life. But he would come when he wasn't working and just be with me and take us and make sure we were good and make sure we had a good time because we were just sitting there alone if he wasn't there. And we became the best of friends and then lovers. And then it didn't, it became a platonic situation, but he one time said, I'm gonna leave, and I said, you can't ever leave. You said you would never leave, and you said you'd make sure that me and Peyton were okay. And he said, you're right. I'm so sorry, And so a couple more years went by, and we just lived together, raising Peyton, working together, and being the very bestest friends for like years and years and years. And I would have stayed like that, but then I realized how selfish I was being. Because he deserved, to find somebody and, So I said to him, okay, I think I'm brave enough to be alone now. So you can go. And he said, okay, if you're ready. I said, okay. So he stayed there and sacrificed everything, to be there with me and Peyton and make sure we're okay. And then when he left, he gave us the house and the car. And he said, I'm going to be right down the street. I'm only a block away, so it don't matter. I'm right there. And he stayed my very best friend until today. He's one of my very best people in my whole life. And I'm so thankful for Tuesdays because, number one, I always get to say, see you next Tuesday. I feel like that little joke. And then number two, I got to see MACK. So I'm so thankful for Tuesdays because we kind of would have went separate ways a little bit, if it wasn't for that day. So I love him so much. I thank him for helping me raise my son and keeping me safe because God knows what would have happened if it wasn't for him. So I love you forever and always. 143 Penguin. And, look at you. Everybody loves you so much. You're so great. Anyways, here you go, baby.
You guys have to rock, paper, scissors for it.
Nope, she's gonna let you go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Monique, if you don't know me. I met Mac when I was 22 years old at Stars, and he is the reason why I have such a high standard in men and how I should be treated. One time Mac messaged me and he said, hey kitten, I need you to get ready. And he said, we have a really good date for us planned. And so I got dressed and we went to Portland, and he didn't tell me where we were going. And he knew I loved hockey, and he took us to a Winterhawks game where we sat in the front and we got to watch people get the shit beat out of them. And I thought that was one of the most special times of the night. And then he says, it's not done. So we go get dinner, and then we go to this parking garage, and we walk up on the top of this parking garage, and there's a helicopter, and inside the helicopter are flowers and a note that tells me how special I am and how I should always be treated. And we went on a helicopter ride above Portland and got our picture taken, and that picture was hung in his house, and I got copies of it, and I have that picture to this day. I can't tell you a lot of the stories of the things that we've done and had fun with because they're not appropriate at all, but he's done some of the nicest things around for everybody, including myself, and he treated me with the utmost respect and made me know how I should be treated. And even when it came to like competitions, I remember one year I had a theme, and I had a doctor's jacket, and he got engraved with my name, and somebody stole it the night of. And so he spent 3 hours calling his friends and paid one of his friends $200 to steal a jacket out of her clinic and come bring it to Dante's for one of my competitions. So like that just goes to show you like what he really was willing to do to go the extra mile to make sure that, like if he could make it happen, he definitely would. Those are my stories.
Hi guys, I'm Sarah. A lot of people just know of me. I am on Facebook way too much.
I used to have a limo company and a taxi company with my ex-husband, and my friendship with Matt lasted longer than my marriage and any relationship I'd been in, but he was there through all of it. No filter. I met Eric because of MACK.
I'm sorry.
MACK would host the poker games, like Link said, and you always had a good luck charm that you would keep on your cards. And not a lot of people knew, but it was a little abortion baby that you would get at the state fair that would tell you about abortions. And for some reason, that was his good luck charm that he would take. And he's, I'm going to win because my abortion baby's here. We're like, oh, God. He usually didn't win all of them because I was that good, but he would try. We would take Mac into limos, and we'd go to the different clubs, and we'd bounce around, and he would have me go pick up people and make sure that people would get home safe afterwards. And almost everybody that I'm still kind of friends with to this day is because of Mac and our connections through the club or however. We were going on a motorcycle ride. I just got my endorsement, and at the time my husband, myself, Alex, Ted, and his brother Jordan, and I think there was one other guy. We were going to go on this great big trip, and it was our first trip for myself because I just got my endorsement. We were going to go to Lincoln City, to Astoria. We were thinking about going across the bridge, coming back across the bridge, coming back down the 30 and back into Salem. We were leaving our driveway, and at the time, my husband accidentally grabbed his brakes and went head over heels on his bike. So we were.
Yeah, he did.
We think he dropped it on purpose so he didn't have to go, but we won't call him out.
Melman looked at
So
him.
yeah, the bike was fine. We're like, you're fine, get up, you wimp. But he didn't want to go. He's like, I'm hurt. So we called him a wimp, and he stayed. So we were gonna fuel up at the gas station out on 22. It's a Chevron. Almost everybody knows of it if you go to the beach. We pull in there, and randomly Mac pulls up. He was coming back from the beach, I believe. He was by himself. And he told us that one day he was going to ride. He goes, I would love to ride to the beach. I would love to go on that ride. And I said, well, you should. I said, you should learn how to ride. And he looks at me, he goes, you idiot. He's like, I know how to ride. I just don't have a bike. He goes, but I'm going to get a bike. And probably about 6 months later, he was riding. We went on that ride, and it was terrible. We got rained out. It was foggy. We couldn't see coming home. We got rain gear at the dollar store, and we probably rode like this the whole way home trying to get behind our shields. But we made it, and we told Mac about it, and he was like, oh, that sounds good. I'm probably glad I didn't go with you guys, but it was, good. He was just an amazing guy. He was a friend, a best friend. When I had my issues, I know I would run to him, and then he would tell me what I did wrong, not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear it wasn't my fault, but he would be like, no, you did it too. And I think that's what we appreciated. He never sugarcoated anything. He saw it and he called it, and that's what made him who he was. He was honest, and I love him for that. That's my story about Mac.
Anyone else?
All right, we got plenty of burgers still, guys. We were planning on about 250 people, so eat up, enjoy the tunes, hang out with each other, have a good time.